Hey everyone, this is Kate Weatherwise, your favorite weather girl, coming to you on Wednesday evening, March 18th, 2026. Tonight we are talking about the weather, what is going on currently, and what is in the forecast for the next 5 to 7 days around the country. So let's just get right into it. But before we get started, if you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when my next video is coming out. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We are looking at current temperatures. You see this chilly air invasion that has pushed down all the way into central Florida, where temperatures are chilly tonight. It is March 18th, so we're heading towards the latter half, or we're in the latter half of March, and 2 weeks is going to be April 1st. So the first day of spring is on Saturday. So we are heading into the springtime temperatures. However, it is chilly tonight. As you remember, a cold front marched east and sparked severe weather from the Midwest all the way down to the south on Saturday. There were upwards of between 15 and 20 tornadoes that got sparked from that line that pushed through with that warm, moist air interacting with the cold front and instability. And then it marched east for Sunday, where we had severe weather, some severe thunderstorms that popped up on Sunday morning early. And then that sort of tempered the atmosphere and allowed for a cap to form. So those thunderstorms, because the sunshine did not really come out, because there were sort of constant showers just rotating through, moving through, that kept the cloud cover on, and the sun really didn't get going and give all that fuel to the atmosphere to create those severe thunderstorms for the afternoon, which was, as I mentioned in some posts of mine that I have put on social media, that was a very good thing, because it was looking very, very scary for a lot of places and a lot of people. And so I'm so glad that that actually did not pan out. But that front that is now heading towards Europe did usher down some colder air, as you can see with these blues. Temperatures are not frigid, but they're definitely chilly. But we do see the winds very light, but they're starting to veer back around out of the south. So that means we will start to warm up starting tomorrow in this part of the country, but not as warm as it's going to be in the center and western part of the nation tomorrow through Saturday. Now, through Sunday, mostly. Now, down here in the desert southwest of Southern California into the Arizona, Phoenix area, your temperatures are going to be well over 100 through Sunday during the day. We have a high heat warning for you all here in the desert southwest, and it is still currently in the upper 80s here into this desert southwest area. So you're going from some decent temperatures. You were sort of gradually warming up to this heat dome that is going to set in for you all for the next few days. Now, it is going to be warm up here in the center part of the country too. Texas, you're going to be in the 80s and 90s, low 90s with the humidity. That is not going to be very fun for you all. And it's even going to be into the 70s all the way up into, let's push this forward so we can see tomorrow what your temperatures are going to be like. This is by tomorrow afternoon. So 89, 90 degrees here in Texas, 103 in Phoenix. Same here with the deserts of Southern California. Las Vegas, you're going to be sitting at 95. And then it's going to be up into the 70s, so around 80 degrees here, all the way up into South Dakota. Billings, you're going to be at 77 degrees. Boise, you're going to be at 75. It's going to be 65 or so up here in Eastern Washington. Western Washington, you are still stuck in the rain. We'll see here in a moment that you all have had a Pineapple Express or an atmospheric river pointing towards you this whole week. Very, very wet with flooding. We'll see here in a moment what that has been looking like for you all. So this warm dome, this heat dome, it's not even technically spring yet. Spring starts on Saturday. By Saturday, the first day of spring, it's just going to be very warm, and even some wind here into the Colorado area, Wyoming area. So let's take a look here at the watches, warnings, and advisories. This is that extreme heat warning that is in place for Southern California into Arizona. And over here, this is the frost advisory that is sitting here for the far southeastern part of North Carolina into South Carolina, almost all of Georgia, and the far eastern part of Alabama. This is these hot pinks are our red flag warning for Wyoming and the western part of Nebraska. We have an avalanche warning here for the northwestern part of Montana, and then a high wind warning also with some pretty intense winds coming over these mountains. And right here up against the mountains is where all that wind is percolating. Now here into western Washington, the Cascades, we have some flood advisories, some flood warnings. That's from the snow levels that have greatly increased into much higher elevation. So anything lower, and with that moisture coming in off the ocean, it is starting to melt all of that snow that fell last week. We had blizzard warnings in the Cascades. We had just crazy weather, crazy snow amounts, 3 feet of snow that fell in 3 days in the Cascades last week. And now this week it is warmer with those flood advisories that are also in place for the eastern side of the eastern crest of the Cascades, where the towns of Cle Elum and Ellensburg and those areas in Washington state. So now let's head over to what this looks like on the satellite. You can see this atmospheric river is coming all the way from Hawaii, which is why they call it the Pineapple Express, because it's streaming all the way from Hawaii, all the way pointed towards western Washington, where you can see this rain has been in place for the entire week. There have been flood advisories all week long. Now, it hasn't been too warm until today. Yesterday was a little warm as well in western Washington, but it's in the 50s in the lowlands, and it's above freezing in the mountains, and so that snow is melting. And tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, the snow levels are going to get even higher, and it's going to get even warmer. So that means a lot of snow melt and a lot of flooding. It's not quite like it was back in December, but this atmospheric river coming in is very apropos of what did happen in December. If you remember, it was reaching all the way back to Indonesia and flowing in from that part of the world straight at western Washington, where they had massive flooding and just disaster zone after disaster zone. Now you can see here too on the satellite where this heat dome is sitting, that's pumping in these southerly winds. Even though right now the winds are pretty light, they are out of the south or out of the west, and it's just a high pressure system sitting over here that's going to just allow for this area of the country just to warm up and warm up and warm up and warm up for the next few days. So now we're going to take a look at really quickly what we are looking at for weather-wise for the next 5 days or so. Bring this back into frame so you can see it. You see here, this rain continues out here for the Pacific Northwest. The rest of the country is pretty quiet, and it's not going to get too crazy over the next few days as well. So that's kind of good. We need a respite from all the weather we've been seeing. And you see too, this high pressure, there's a high pressure here sitting over Colorado and another one sitting over here into Central California, the valleys of Central California. This is a low pressure system. It's not that low. 1013 is mean sea level pressure. So it's just basically just below that. So I would really call that a low pressure system. However, you see some more rain coming into the Pacific Northwest. You all are just going to continue to be inundated with eastern Washington in a rain shadow that will continue to be the case through the end of the week. And then maybe by Friday night, we could see some rain coming in here to the Spokane area of eastern Washington. And then the rain shadow that's created pretty much shadows through Spokane, and then you get over to North Idaho and it peters out. So it can allow for some precipitation to fall into North Idaho, which it has been happening from time to time this week. And we've had some rain in Spokane as well. this week, but it's been very, very light and it's not lasted long. So you see that little bit of rain in North Idaho. And then again, we see some more rain that comes in. This is Friday. Some light rain could come into the Spokane area. But this low pressure system here, you can see it. Let's see, I'll bring this down a little bit. You can see this up here to the north that's going into Canada. And this is the low pressure system that is going to usher in some little bit of cooler air. Not by much. It's still going to be in the 50s in this area of the Pacific Northwest, Inland Northwest, and Mountain West. But this cooler air dragged in by this low pressure system will come through and give a little bit of snow here into Idaho, northern Idaho, and into western Montana. And then this helps to usher in, but there's still a pretty good warmth and amplitude here in the center of the country. This is on Sunday. That will continue your heat dome here, down here in the desert Southwest. And it's sort of, the jet stream sort of flattens out here. And so you have a little bit of cold and snow up here into Maine. You have a little bit of cooler weather. It's not going to be cold, but cooler weather for Washington into the northern half of Idaho and Montana and over but it's pretty flat. So it's not going to be like super cold and it's not going to be warm. It's just going to be a couple of degrees cooler. And then by Sunday, we have a little bit of a dip here, but not much. And then also, if you come back over here to the East Coast on Sunday into Monday, we have a little bit of a system coming through here that could spark off some thunderstorms from western Kentucky through West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, stretching all the way up into Boston area. And that is Sunday night into Monday, early Monday morning is when this low pressure system exits. But we could see some thunderstorms that come through Sunday night, Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, and then exiting by Monday morning. And this will also bring in some cooler air behind it, as these low pressure systems tend to do this time of year. This cooler air is not going to be cold. It'll be cooler. As you can see, an amplitude forms back out here, high pressure, and a ridge forms back out here. And then we have this trough in the east that brings that cooler weather. And then this can tend to usher in some another severe weather situation here in the center of the country, but I'm not going to talk about that yet because that's so far out. That is, more than a week away. So this is where I'm going to end it. This is where we have good visibility of what's going to happen over the next week. Like I said, Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, maybe some severe weather that's going to pop up here from Kentucky and all the way up into New York, Boston area. So this will be something that I will watch. And then that continued rain out here in the Pacific Northwest, it's just, nonstop, which is normal for this time of year, but the snow levels are pretty high. So you're not getting any snowpack unless it's the higher peaks. But we are getting some rain for the lowlands, and then a little bit of rain that's going to pop up here for eastern Washington, North Idaho. And the rest of the country is not looking too shabby as far as weather is concerned. But that's it for now. That's all I have for you tonight. This is what we have in store for the weather for the next 5 to 7 days. I will be back daily to fine tune everything as we go along. But for now, this is Kate Weatherwise saying goodbye, and I will talk to you later.